Hey, how are you doing? I was watching this video from Tim Pool. He was going over this article. CBS News, black man shot to death by Minneapolis police wasn't named in warrants. And apparently the cops broke into this guy's place, said he had a gun, pointed it at them. They fired on him, killed him, and they lied. And that the video cam footage came out. They had a key, walked in, had their guns drawn, started yelling. The guy was sleeping on a couch under the covers. He did have a gun. And whenever he woke, the video footage shows that he doesn't have his finger on the trigger, doesn't point it at the cops, and they shot him and they killed him. And everybody's using this for just a bunch of clickbait bullshit. Pardon my French there, but it's just frustrating. Part of this is that Biden is wanting to put up some regulations with gun control. This is the article right here. I can't tell where it's from. Is it from him? It says Tim Cass. I don't know if that's on the page or the video. Oh, it's the video. The video is Biden on gun control plan. There's no amendment that's absolute. It's like, yes, all amendments are absolute until changed. And if they're not changed, then those damn things are set in stone. That's the whole purpose of an amendment. Those are your constitutional rights, and nobody has the power to change that. It takes everyone, for the most part, it takes an ungodly amount of votes to be able to change an amendment. It's ridiculous what you have to go through in order to do it. But they designed it that way because they didn't want all of this nonsense that's going on right now, where it's just the federal level was supposed to be the strongest level, but it was also supposed to be the smallest. There wasn't supposed to be all these rules and regulations. That was supposed to be at the lower levels. Basically, let the lowest level of government take care of it. And what this is just like we saw in that other video where that guy was talking to the city council. He's like, every time one little bad thing happens somewhere, you want to play off being the victim. You want to help those people, and you are not helping the majority. Because you know what that man was? What I am? What you are? We're law-abiding citizens. And the overwhelming amount of citizens are law-abiding citizens. And so because of this one incident, this one outlier, we're going to abolish your guns. It's like, that makes no sense at all. That sounds like corruption. Should Biden be removed for something like this? Because it makes you wonder, if he's lying about this, what else is he lying about? Like, this isn't something that you see all the time. Now, it happens enough, though, that I would say that there's probably some kind of reform that could happen within the police department. Tim does mention one that I have absolutely hated, and that is, I hate that it's mayors and governors who get to appoint the head of the city police or the sheriffs, all of them, state troopers, whatever, all of those governing law enforcement bodies should be separate. No appointments. They need to be elected. It's just so often it feels like whenever like a city mayor appoints a police chief, well, that police chief better get in line with what that mayor has to say, or they're going to lose their job. It's like, no, that police chief is not your thug. The police force is not your gang. But here they are, again, saying, screw your gun rights. It's like, no, screw you. If you are so damn stupid that you can't understand the Constitution and the amendments, it's like, I think anyone should be able, well, that the guidelines that we have to run in political office are fine, except, it's like, you know what, you really need to prove that you know something, though. I just wonder if they had like some kind of entrance exam that you had to do. How many people would that disqualify? So I immediately think that would disqualify someone like AOC or Ilhan Omar. It's like those idiots don't know a damn thing. And there they are. It's like the higher the level, the more difficult that test should be so that you can run to be a candidate. And then you still have to win your election as normal. And I don't think it should be terribly hard either. It's like, well, here are the answers. Study up however you want, but you need to know some of these basic things. And one of them is, yes, amendments are absolutely absolute. What the hell are you talking about? It's something like you have to have like 75% of the states to vote to change an amendment. Yeah, here it is. Out of the 50 states, 38. So what is that, like 2/3? It's like, good luck. Good luck. That's not happening within my lifetime. Something else is going to have to happen for that to go through. But this is what they do all the time. They get these outliers. So what are outliers? Maybe some of you are asking. So here we go. It's whenever you have a data set and then you have one that's just out there way by itself. This is what the data really shows. And then you've got this anomaly there. It's just what? It's just far, far away from the rest. Everything else makes this clear pattern of some kind. And then you have show me two different things here. And then you have that one thing that's just what? Usually you see it like this in a bell curve right here. And these are not outliers. Outliers are much further out there. They're not close to the bell curve at all. Something like this. That's a bit of an outlier. And the further away it is, the more of an outlier it is. The more it just doesn't make sense.
Welcome.
And that's what this is. You know, it's just like with school shootings. With the high school that I grew up with, it's like I don't think there's ever been a school shooting there ever. Not that I'm aware of, but that's how rare that it happens. But whenever you look at the entire country and how large it is, it's like, are you going to be able to find a school shooting? It's like, well, yeah, because then you're talking about a lot. It's just like, if you have 1 in 1,000 people that are gay, but there's only 1,000 people in the state, that's not very many. But if you have 100 million. Oh, okay. Now we've, even though it's still a small percentage, the base number is larger. So that means that there's actually a fair number of them now. So it's like you're going to find them. And that's the way it is. It's like 3% of the population is like gay or something like that. It's really small. So that's like 3 out of 100. So out of 1,000, it's like 30. Out of 100 million, that's 1 million people, though. It's like, yeah, or 3 million people out of 100 million people. It's like, that's still just 3%, but 3 million is large. So it's the same thing with this. The amount of bad cops that are out there, it's like, it's a small percentage that are this level kind of stupid and evil, and it's going to be one of the higher ranking officers who's going to kind of flex a little bit and say, this is what we're all going to say because we're not going to lose our jobs over this. Take my lead. And the younger officers, what else are they going to do? They don't know. They don't know any better. It was just like whenever I was in the military. It was the same thing. You had the sergeants and the officers, and they knew what they were doing. They had experience, and the juniors often just took those leads. It's just like now in my 40s, I look at 20-year-olds, and it's like they're just dumb as dirt. It's like, yes, I understand all this stuff. You call them all adults, but they're not the same. There's decades in between these really young adults and these older adults. It's not the same. But here we are, and it's like, yeah, you know what those cops did were bad, and they were wrong. But part of that is because we don't put in values into anything. Okay, well, why do we need to stand up and to actually tell the truth even whenever it hurts us? How do we learn courage? I'll tell you what, that is something that I also hate, is that they let anybody just come in and be a cop, and it's like, no, I don't want cowards as officers. And if there's some guy who's just sleeping there and you're just banging down the door or walking in and you've got guns drawn just ready to kill because you've all gotten yourselves all psyched out over this, it's like, screw you. I will agree with Tim. He doesn't believe in these no-knock warrants, and it's like, yeah, this is trash. And it's like, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's just utterly ridiculous. It's like, if you think it's so important, then get together the officers that you need and surround the place and deal with it. Why they have to go in guns blazing, I'm sure there's a few, but again, I'm not going to be surprised at all if it's just another outlier thing. It's like, how many times does this really work out? I've seen plenty of stories where it doesn't, where these no-knock warrants end up wrong place, wrong name, wrong address, wrong all kinds of stuff. This Steve Lato right here, I've seen several videos. He's a lawyer from Minnesota talking about all of these mishaps that happened. There was a video where he was talking about how there were two guys with the same name, but they had different birthdays by like a couple of decades. And they kind of just glanced over. They just saw the name and thought, okay, it's the same. Steve Lato said that he actually met somebody who, or no, he knew two people in school who had the exact first name, last name, and middle name. I knew two guys in school growing up who had the same first and last name. It was Zach Seals. One was Z-A-C-H, one was Z-A-C-K, and then one was spelled S-I-L-L-S, and the other one was S-E-L-L-S. My name is Jeremy Jones. I've met directly one other guy who had my name whenever I was in the military, and then whenever I was doing some some property stuff. I met another one. Indirectly though, his name came up and it's like, you better check that social security number because that's not me. And sure enough, so anyways, it's like I don't want to hear any of this stuff. I'm tired of it. This is just Joe Biden and the Democrats lying out of their ass. No accountability whatsoever. If you're tired of wasting your time, if you would like to have a more fulfilled life, I got hope for you, man. I've got a lot of answers. And whenever this website gets going, I'm going to flesh them all out for everybody to see. But until then, I've got to grind. So help me out. Subscribe. Give the video a like. Share it. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.